latest ITV news in the Tyne Tees region.
With Helen Ford and Ian Payne.
Hello, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
On tonight's programme, on the rise, new figures show the amount of personal and household debt in the North East is growing. One woman tells us how she's struggled to cope.
It got really bad, like bailiffs coming to the door and all the letters what were coming, it was just terrible.
Also on the programme, a popular North Yorkshire seaside feature is spared the axe, for now.
We shine a spotlight on Bishop Auckland, one of the many places in our region vying for the title Town of Culture.
And welcome to the world-famous Camp Nou Stadium. We followed Newcastle United to Barcelona as they and thousands of Magpies fans prepare for Judgment Day in the Champions League.
First tonight to the rise in the number of people in our region reaching out for help because they're struggling with their debts.
The latest figures indicate that, on average, people in the North East are £15,000 in the red by the time they seek help, and there's been a notable rise in unpaid household bills as people try to keep up with the cost of living.
Experts say spiralling debt is a trap that's getting easier to fall into, but increasingly difficult to escape. Johnny Blair reports.
Mounting bills, sleepless nights, growing pressure. For more and more people in the North East, this is reality rather than a reconstruction. Jill has been there. Now debt-free, her situation was driven by loans, which left her more than £17,000 in the red.
It got really bad, like bailiffs coming to my door and all the letters what were coming, it was just terrible, but I would still get more credit, and they were hiring like credit cards, that is, and everything. There was no way out at all.
Think about which one is, like, you have to choose one.
Jill was helped by Gemma, a charity worker who specialises in debt. Her weekly classes at Houghton Racecourse Community Centre promote positive life skills and how to balance a budget. She also visits people in their own home who are in deep debt. Her patch is Sunderland and Durham, and the numbers are up.
I think that's increased. Here in Houghton Spring, I've always been kind of up and down with clients. I haven't been constantly booked, but the last few months I have actually been. It's those priority things, so it's getting in a rent arrears. Gas and electricity is a really big one. Council tax, those priority things that people were managing, but now they just don't have the income to cover.
Figures from another leading charity show that the average unsecured debt in the North East is more than £15,800. That's up 6% on the previous year. The average household arrears, which includes things like energy and rent or mortgage bills, is more than £4,000, up 15%, while the number of people helped in the region by the charity is 945, a rise of 26% on January last year. And for Gemma, that's not the only shift she's seen.
When I first started working for CAP, we were mostly helping people repay their debts in a reasonable time. But unfortunately now, I'm seeing a lot more people having to go through some form of insolvency to get that freedom from debt. And that's just because they can't afford to pay it back in a reasonable time.
Yet the message is there is help and there is hope. Just ask Jill.
Good, you ready?
Yeah.
Gonna see this lady?
Who now helps Gemma on those home visits. Inspiration as someone who's lived through it, she now spreads the message that she turned her life around and others can too.
I get like a warm feeling and I'm like, I go goosebumpy and I just like, is there going to feel like me soon?
Charities say debt is more common than people think, and ignoring it only makes the problem worse.
And Johnny is with us in the studio. Johnny, what hope is there of this situation improving?
Well, as we know, conflict in the Middle East is increasing the price of oil and gas. That, of course, is on top of general living costs having increased in the last few years anyway. The government is obviously well aware of these issues and told us it is helping with increases to universal credit and the national living wage, adding that we have the right economic plan, cutting the cost of living with £150 slashed up energy bills, rail fares frozen, along with an extension of the 5p fuel duty cut through to the end of August to support drivers across the country, and that people are set to be £1,000 a year better off by the end of this Parliament as inflation falls and living standards rise.
If you are in difficulty though, Johnny, as we saw, it's really important to stress there is help out there.
Yeah, absolutely, and that is the message right across the board. It is currently Debt Awareness Week, run by the charity Step Change. It's been going for more than 10 years. The idea is to try and break down stigma and to get people to seek help who need it.
Around half of the people who have suffered with serious problem debt have told no one. They've kept that to themselves. They've carried that burden alone, and that can have serious consequences, not just for your finances, but for your mental health, for your relationships with friends and family, for something as simple as how you sleep each night. And if you don't carry that, if you carry that burden alone and you don't reach out for help, whether that's to friends or family, to the people that you owe money to, or even to an organisation like Step Change, that can really weigh you down.
As you heard there, then, charities like Step Change, Citizens Advice, Christians Against Poverty, plenty of others, all of them can help budget and help to organise a recovery plan. Of course, organisations you owe money to can also offer solutions, be it rent or mortgage, council tax, energy bills. The message is get help, ask for help, there is no shame, and certainly at the minute when debt appears to be on the rise, it's never a more important message.
Indeed. Let's underline that. Johnny, thank you very much indeed. The Chancellor has acknowledged that this is an anxious moment and earlier today pointed to government action, like the announcement yesterday of support for some people who have seen the cost of heating oil spike due to the conflict in the Middle East.
But the focus of Rachel Reeves' speech in London today was on the longer term and increasing prosperity in regions like the North East. Well, our political correspondent Tom Sheldrick is at Westminster. And Tom, what did the Chancellor announce today?
Helen, she said that the north of England becoming more productive is one of the biggest opportunities for the UK as a whole. She pledged more funding, including £120 million for the North East Mayor Kim McGuinness to spend locally. And the Chancellor announced that she's asked government officials to draw up plans to potentially give regional mayors control of a share of income tax raised locally to invest in their areas. She insisted it wouldn't mean bills rising.
These reforms will represent a permanent transfer of power and resources, not another exercise in local ambition frustrated by central government control. With taxpayers able to see what is being delivered with their money and to hold local leaders to account for the results.
The business group, the Northern Powerhouse Partnership, say that would be a huge step from the government to help the UK become less centralised and help the economies of regions like ours to grow. In her speech earlier, Rachel Reeves also set out plans for the UK to lead the way on artificial intelligence. The North East has already been identified as a focal point for AI investment. Finally, the Chancellor said that the UK should follow more of the European Union's rules to increase trade and cut prices. The Conservatives, though, have accused her of dragging us back into the old Brexit arguments.
Tom at Westminster, thank you for that update.
There's more on the rising cost of living in tonight's Martin Lewis Money Show. Here's what's to come.
The conflict in the Middle East has seen huge hikes in the wholesale cost of oil and natural gas, and that means home heating oil costs have nearly doubled. Petrol at the pumps is already more expensive, and we're likely to see knock-on effects on energy bills. Plus, of course, so many goods are transported, things are going to get more expensive. We're going to be tackling all of that and everything you can do on the show.
next this evening. There have been celebrations in Whitby after the town's historic cliff lift was given a stay of execution. The lift is 90 years old and it's closed at the moment as it needs repairs estimated to cost £5.5 million.
While it had been expected that North Yorkshire councillors would vote today to permanently shut it, but they've decided to take another look at the cost of making it fit to open again. Katie Oscroft reports.
Well, what a lovely day it's been for going down to the beach here at Whitby, and this is how you would have got down, but this lift has been locked since 2022. The threat of closing it for good showed just how many people want to save it. Now, it would have taken you down these 90 feet down this steep cliff here, but it's tough to walk down it. It would have also brought you back up again. Now, councillors at a crunch meeting this morning put the case to spend an estimated £5 million to get it back into working order, and they succeeded in getting a rethink.
We are a highly sought after tourist destination, and it's things like our Whitby Cliff Lift that attract people. We're not just the run-of-the-mill town, and we've got to retain those assets.
Do you think you can win in the end?
Yes.
It's a positive decision. It's the next step forward. You know, we've been talking about this for a long time now. I started the petition last year, and then 6,000 people signed that petition. It just shows you the passion and the belief, you know, in the town about reopening and getting the cliff lift repaired.
Now, this lift has been taking people up and down since 1931, and one of the main arguments for keeping it is that heritage. It's a tourist attraction, but it's also carried generations of local people down to their beach huts, and they miss it.
It's made Whitby smaller. It's really important to Whitby, not just for the elderly or the disabled, but for the families as well, because you've got to cart buckets, spades, picnics up and down the cliff.
Now, as we're older, we're in our 70s now, we've had chalets for over 50 years. We can't walk up and down the paths like we used to.
You want your lift back?
Yes, we definitely need our lift back.
It's not a luxury, it's a necessity.
It is a necessity, definitely.
Now, a free bus which has been taking people down the cliff since the lift closed has been scrapped, but there will now be an up-to-date survey of the extent and the cost of these repairs. That will have to be discussed all over again, but campaigners say the longer this goes on, the more determined they get.
Big issue there in Whitby. Now, should the UK follow Australia and ban children from using social media? Parents are being invited to take part in a consultation, inviting the public to share their views on future online safety measures.
A recent YouGov poll found almost 3/4 of adults are in favour of a ban for under 16s. But is it realistic? Nick Smith reports.
The impact of social media on young people is under heavy scrutiny. For some families, it's been more harmful than they could ever imagine. Helen has been campaigning for much tougher restrictions on social platforms after her 14-year-old son Jules died in what she strongly believes was an online challenge or dare gone wrong.
Some of these dangerous sites where they've got challenges that started as simple as eat your cereal very quickly within 2 minutes and progressively got worse until such time as they were saying, unless you do XYZ, we're going to kill your family. We've got children being affected by things like this on their platform. They're not safe. We know there's harmful content on there, and I just think we need to remove the children from these platforms.
In December, Australia became the first country in the world to ban social media for under 16s.
Make no mistake, this reform will change lives.
3 months on, tech experts there tell me there are still ways it can be bypassed.
This was announced 12 months prior, so we certainly saw a lot of kids already jumping the gun and changing their date of birth. Some of them have older siblings who are prepared to have their face scanned. Some parents are actually enabling kids to bypass this because they don't agree with the ban. These are the things perhaps other countries considering a ban like this would do well to think about addressing before they make those sorts of decisions.
It is definitely a serious option on the table. It is part of the consultation. We're looking at ways of doing it. We're learning from Australia. Ministers are going to go and visit and learn even further from the Australian experience. This is a deeper question about culture, about education, about parents and kids having deep conversations about healthy experiences online.
Well, parents we spoke to at Helen Community Hub near Wallsend mostly agree with the idea of an age ban in principle.
It'll be a big shock. That initial period, if it does come into effect, I think it'll be a massive improvement. It will take away a lot of problems. It's, take away spaces for cyberbullying and harassment and, indecent images and those kind of things.
I'm pleased people are starting to consider it, because I know myself as a parent and a lot of others really worry about the impact on the children.
I think banning social media is going to be quite difficult now. The children have had a lot of time to get used to it and use it in their daily lives. It needs more policing.
I think now we're in uncharted waters where anything can be made available.
It's also a common discussion topic in schools like this one, where young people actually seemed open to the idea of greater restrictions on their social media.
I believe there should be a social media ban. I think there should be at least a restriction, because social media is not safe as it is.
Young people like my age are doing stuff they're not meant to be doing online. When they grow up and want to get a very good job, they could go back to the digital footprint. Like they might have posted something very bad.
The government consultation runs until the end of May and explores other options like digital curfews or stricter content regulation for young people, along with an outright ban. But for those who've suffered the most tragic consequences of unrestricted social media use, any measures to divert loved ones from harmful content cannot come soon enough. Nick Smith, ITV News.
Right, well, it's time for sport. Newcastle United have arrived in Barcelona ahead of tomorrow night's Champions League showdown. This is the round of 16, and the teams drew 1-1 in the first leg at St James's Park last week.
So there is everything to play for in the second leg, and Simon is at the world-famous Camp Nou Stadium for us tonight. Excited, Simon?
Just a little bit, Ian, yes. This is one of the great venues of European football. Barcelona are one of the great teams of European football. They are hot favourites to make progress tomorrow night. But Eddie Howe's Magpies absolutely believe that they can pull off the sort of result that would shake the Champions League to its foundations. And thousands of Magpies fans have started flooding into the city to support them. Now, this is what UEFA calls match day -1. That's when the teams fulfil all their media commitments. Barcelona trained this morning, Newcastle flew in this afternoon, they had a light training session inside the stadium. You're seeing some pictures of that now. And just before that, Eddie Howe popped into Barcelona's impressive press auditorium to give us his thoughts.
We'll enjoy the game when it comes, but we'll only truly enjoy it if we deliver what we know we need to deliver, and I think we're in a good place to do that. So hopefully we're peaking at the right time, but we need everything to go our way tomorrow. We know how good Barcelona are. We don't underestimate the size of the task, but we believe in ourselves at the same time.
Now, the Champions League knockout stages does feel like uncharted waters for Newcastle United, but the city of Barcelona isn't such a mystery. The Magpies have been here before. In fact, they're hoping this will be third time lucky. 2 months after Tino Asprilla had stunned Barcelona with his famous St James's Park hat-trick, the black and white hordes made their first trip to Catalonia for the return match in November 1997. The natives did not know what had hit them, and youthful sports reporters had a lot less grey hair.
The Toon Army are in town, and they're determined to enjoy themselves.
And they did enjoy themselves. They ate, they drank, they made merry, and they came to worship at the Camp Nou, one of football's great cathedrals.
It's been 50 years since I started supporting Newcastle, and this is a dream trip.
Could have been at work today, but I'm here instead.
It's certainly a trip that these fans are always going to remember. Cheers, lads.
Sadly, the fun stopped when the game started. Barcelona 1, Newcastle United 0. Giovanni got the only goal of that game. Fast forward to December 2002 when the Magpies were back in Barca again. This was in the short-lived second group stage of the Champions League, and the rain in Spain fell mostly on the Camp Nou. The game was delayed by 24 hours because of an absolute deluge. That meant a logistical nightmare for the Newcastle fans, but lots for the Tyne-T's team to talk about.
For a very long time, nobody knew what on earth was going on, inside or outside the ground. That included the players.
Yeah, and our Christmas party is supposed to be next week as well, so let's put a dampener on that.
This was also a trip down memory lane for Sir Bobby Robson, who brought Newcastle to Spain to face one of his former clubs.
It's like old times.
But the black and white knight would be defeated. Once again, Barcelona got the better of Newcastle, although the game was closer than the 3-1 scoreline might suggest.
Those Newcastle supporters will long remember the night they saw their team play here at the Nou Camp. The whole trip had threatened to be a washout. In the end, Newcastle couldn't quite weather the storm.
So will it be third time lucky for Newcastle at the Camp Nou? The football world thinks not. Not many pundits give them much chance. But Eddie Howe's team were magnificent in the first leg last week, and they're certainly not coming here just to make up the numbers. History awaits tomorrow.
How time flies. Well, the match will have kicked off by this time tomorrow night, so the next 24 hours or so, Simon, will be another epic adventure for Newcastle United and their fans.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's the game itself, which is absolutely massive. Of course, Barcelona are favourites. But this Newcastle United team won a cup final a year and a day ago that they weren't supposed to win. So don't tell me that they can't come here and get a result. Then there's the Geordie invasion, which is well underway. There were 10,000 applications for tickets from Newcastle United fans. But because this stadium is still being rebuilt, and you can possibly see the cranes behind me, the Magpies have only got about 3,000 tickets. But there'll be hundreds, maybe thousands, without tickets. Because they just want to be here. They just want to be part of this. And it's St Patrick's Day. And the Newcastle United Supporters Club has hired the biggest Irish bar in Barcelona, and it's holding a party. It's going to be emotional, and I can't wait.
Simon, enjoy the adventure. We look forward to your reports on it. Thanks very much indeed.
Right, well, we're going from Barcelona to Bishop Auckland. There is a bit of a link because Bishop is, of course, the country's first Spanish art gallery home. The County Durham town also hosts the outdoor spectacle known as Kinrun and the palace where the Prince Bishops once lived.
It's attractions like that which the community hopes will put us in pole position as it bids to become the UK's town of culture in 2028. Chris Conway has been finding out more.
Bishop Auckland, the quaint town nestled in the picturesque countryside of County Durham that wants to be town of culture.
Bishop Auckland is already a town of culture. We just want to make that official.
That's Jane Ruffer. She and her husband Jonathan have spent their personal fortune on trying to improve the town's fortunes. They opened the unique Spanish gallery and before that the mining art gallery, honouring the town's industrial heritage. But the duo's first foray? Restoring Auckland Castle, which was once the palace of the Bishops of Durham. Last year, almost 30,000 people visited.
It's not just old buildings and art collections. There's a folk scene, there's a sports scene, there's the involvement with Kinrun and that extraordinary spectacle which has grown up now to be a local tradition. So if we can get the town of culture, I think it would give the confidence to think we're on the map as this.
Speaking of Kinrun, the success of the Ruffers outdoor live-action show, another reason why Bishop Auckland is on the minds of tourists. It's brought in 400,000 visitors and provided a £65 million economic injection. Not bad for a show that relies heavily on local volunteers.
What we can bring as Kinrun is all the volunteers pulling together and creating a world-class show that can be shouted out loud about, and everybody can be really proud that is involved and supporting it.
I think we're all just really, really keen to share our history with everybody that, that would like to come and visit the town and visit all of the attractions that we've got on offer here.
With visitor numbers swelling, local businesses feel Bishop Auckland now has hope.
The community is the culture. If you look at other towns of a comparable size, they've got all the same economic challenges, but they don't have the hope and they don't have as much going on.
A strong sense of community has helped change the identity of Bishop Auckland. People there already feel it's a town of culture. Now, though, they want the title so the country can see it as that too. Chris Conway, ITV News in Bishop Auckland.
Oh, lovely to see Bishop Auckland there, and we'll be showcasing more of the region's bidding towns in the coming days.
Our towns, cities, villages all look their best in the sunshine.
They all look their best today then, didn't
A little
they?
bit brighter.
Mild as well, warm even, 18 degrees in North Yorkshire. Well above the average, but yes, lots of spring sunshine, which does make that difference, doesn't it? Safe to say the first half of March has brought more sunshine than the whole of February, so we are on the right track at least with that. And there's more to come, particularly as our days start getting longer. Now, the spring equinox is on Friday. That's where the sun moves into the northern hemisphere. But tomorrow is the equilux for us. That's the closest we get to equal day and night. For southern areas, that happened today. But here we're still a little bit short of that 12 hours of daylight threshold we need. We're about 4.5 minutes short at the moment, but we get added that tomorrow. We hit that 12 hours. We'll be crossing that threshold. We, of course, need lots of sunny weather to go with it. If the days are getting longer, we demand more spring sunshine. Is there any on the way? Let's take a look.
An icy start to the day will give way to a series of oohs and ahs. TUI sponsors ITV Tyne Tees weather.
A breezy day at times today, but plenty of mild spring sunshine, and we're going to see more of that as we head through the next few days. So it's mild. Cloud amounts will start to vary as we head towards the end of the week, but it should stay dry for us. We are watching a front just wavering around at the moment, currently over southern parts of Scotland. As we make our way through the later part of Wednesday into Thursday, it might start to drop its way further south, increasing the cloud amounts. We see a bit more of a breeze coming in from the North Sea, not ideal for us. So at times in Thursday, that cloud will start to increase, but high pressure's nearby. We're looking at lighter breezes and those settled conditions. For now, we do have plenty of clear skies around. Where the front is currently sitting, we're seeing a bit of cloud fringing into certainly parts of Northumberland. Again, it should stay dry. Where we hold on to the clearer skies with the lighter breezes taking us overnight, we're seeing some patches of mist and fog forming into the early hours. The temperatures will be dropping down to around 5 or 6 degrees, a little bit chillier then as we head into Wednesday morning. Wednesday, we still have that divide with a bit more cloud further north. For the south, where we see the mist patches, they are quickly clearing, and actually through the day, for all of us, some good spells of sunshine developing. Lighter winds again, and those temperatures really responding. The average for this time of year, around 9 degrees. We're looking at 16 or 17. Through Wednesday and into Thursday, so still watching that front, still over southern parts of Scotland. As we make our way into Thursday, it's looking like it will start to pull its way further south. And again, that's not great for us with the winds starting to move in from the North Sea. There will be a bit more in the way of cloud through Thursday. Hopefully that should start to clear through, more in the way of brightness as we look towards Friday and Saturday. Temperatures feeling a little bit fresher, but still holding up in double figures.
TUI sponsors ITV Tyne Tees weather.
Thank you, Ross. In just a moment, the national and international news.
I'll be here with the updates at around about 10:30. Thanks for your company. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.